the rap game can get wild. When you talking that tough talk, but also outside rocking expensive jewelry, anything can happen. Here's a look at some of the most famous rappers who got ran up on. Famous Dex. Dexter Gore Jr., aka Famous Dex, is a rapper from Chicago associated with Rich the Kid's Rich Forever label and singles like Japan and Pick It Up featuring A$AP Rocky. Dex grew up on the south side of Chicago and decided to pursue a music career after his mother died of breast cancer back in September 2014. He started gaining buzz after being featured on numerous Rich the Kid songs and released his debut project, Dex Meets Dexter, in April 2018. Dex built a solid career for himself and has racked up hundreds of millions of plays on Spotify and Apple Music. Famous Dex's career hasn't remained as hot as it was around 2017-2018. However, he still has a consistent fan base and has been featured alongside popular artists like 5 Foreign and Tyga. Dex has kept a low profile over the past few years, but earlier this month, he made headlines after a robbery report he released was leaked to the police. On March 13th, TMZ reported that Famous Dex made a report to police that he was held at gunpoint and robbed of a $50,000 watch. Dex claims that he borrowed a watch worth $50,000 for a music video shoot. He went up to meet with his friends somewhere in the San Fernando Valley, and after he picked up the watch, he noticed someone following him. When he stopped his car, a group of armed men hopped out and robbed him of the watch and several stacks of cash he had in the car. However, after TMZ leaked this story, Dex took to the internet to claim that it was all cap and that he was never robbed. He posted a message to his Instagram that said, SMH, this internet shit so fake, a lame now, which had fans confused. He then posted a story to his live where he claims he was never robbed and that it's all internet hype.
She posting fake shit about me. No, I was in the studio all last night. No, I was at home all last night. Oh, why did they...
Dex may have gotten away with claiming it was all cap if it hadn't been verified by TMZ. Although TMZ is known for bullshit, they typically don't make up stories out of thin air. They have connections to law enforcement and likely got the inside scoop on a story that Dex was trying to sweep under the rug. Although Dex isn't known as the hardest rapper in the game, he did grow up around killers in Chicago and is known to rap about drugs and guns in his music. Fans were a bit disappointed to hear that a gangster rapper like Dex would snitch to the police about stolen jewelry rather than handle business on his own. Dex himself probably realized that it was a bad look and tried to cover it up on social media to protect his image. Because the watch belonged to a friend, his homeboy may have asked Dex to file a police report so that he could file an insurance claim. Many people take out insurance policies on expensive pieces just in case they get stolen. You can't file an insurance claim without a police report, and therefore, Dex may have been required to report the incident to the cops because he lost $50,000 worth of jewelry that belonged to someone else. What could have also happened is that the whole thing was made up and Dex was simply trying to finesse a $50,000 settlement from the insurance company and TMZ blew up his spot. Perhaps Dex and his friend were both in on it and made up the story to split the cash, then got caught in the action. This seems less likely, however, maybe Dex has fallen on some hard times and needed to resort back to scamming to support his lifestyle. This news comes just a few months after Dex checked himself into rehab after disturbing images of the rapper clearly in a bad space physically and mentally went viral on the internet. Dex claims that he's now clean and sober, but fans have their doubts, especially after spelling internet on social media. So it's been a tough few months for Famous Dex, but hopefully he can get some of that insurance money and use it for studio time to record a new banger, or at least get his own watch for the next video shoot. If you thought that story was crazy, this next rapper was kidnapped, beaten, and robbed of his own jewelry, all by his own crew. Here's what happened. 6ix9ine. Daniel Hernandez, better known as Tekashi 6ix9ine or just 6ix9ine, is a rapper that every hip-hop fan knows about. He had a short-lived, yet incredibly high-profile career that featured Billboard hits, shootouts, and a court case that put one of the most notorious gangs in Brooklyn behind bars. 6ix9ine became the first rapper to ever snitch on his own crew in a federal racketeering trial and be released to the public not long after. Although 6ix9ine has continued to release music and diss other rappers on social media, his career is not nearly as hot as it was when he was hot off the success of Gummo and was rolling deep with the 9 Trey Bloods. Throughout his early career, 6ix9ine dissed almost every rapper in the game and claimed that he was untouchable. But it turned out that he was more vulnerable than he thought and ended up getting run up on by his own crew and some of his closest business partners at the time. On the night of July 22nd, 2018, 6ix9ine was kidnapped by 3 masked assailants outside his own home on the way back from the video shoot for Fifi featuring Murder Beats and Nicki Minaj. In an interview with TMZ, 6ix9ine claims that they were coming back from the video shoot, someone rear-ended their vehicle, and when the driver got out, the 3 men popped out. He says he woke up in the backseat of a car and begged the kidnappers to let him live. He didn't have anything on him, but he told the robbers that he had jewelry back at the house that they could take if they let him live. The robbers immediately pulled up to his house, which is when 6ix9ine says he knew it was a setup. The robbers ended up getting away with over $750,000 in custom jewelry and $35,000 cash. At first, fans and media outlets weren't sure if the robbery was real or staged for publicity. 6ix9ine maintained that it wasn't a setup, but that he understands why the public would be skeptical based on his track record. Although 6ix9ine didn't reveal who he thought had committed the kidnapping before the incident, he later told the court in the case against the 9 Trey Bloods that the robbery was orchestrated by Anthony Harv Ellison, one of the 9 Treys who originally protected 6ix9ine. In a text message released to the courts, 6ix9ine and Harv got into an argument after the rapper and his backup got denied entry to a party in Houston for not checking in with Prynce beforehand. Harv thought that the disrespect made the crew look weak and that they should have made a scene instead of backing down. Apparently, he was already tired of dealing with 6ix9ine and thought that Shotty, 6ix9ine's closest ally in the gang, was letting the rainbow-haired rapper ruin the image of the 9 Treys. 6ix9ine ended up getting kidnapped not long after. In the video of the kidnapping released by Vlad TV, you can hear 6ix9ine calling the kidnapper Harv and say that he tried to call him.
Ain't nobody in here.
Why you doing all that, man?
I want to talk to you.
About what? About what? About what? Why you ain't holler at me? What you mean, sorry, man? Give me the book.
I try to call you, bro. I'm picking up everything.
So why ain't got your number?
Because I asked for your number. They told me your number. I put it on my left, bro. I put it on my phone.
So it's clear that 6ix9ine knew who had kidnapped him the entire time, but didn't let it be known until he was on the witness stand. Harv was sentenced to 288 months in prison for the kidnapping and other associated charges and is not set to be released until 2039. For his testimony, 6ix9ine was only sentenced to 2 years and was released in April 2020 after the outbreak of the coronavirus. 6ix9ine continues to troll and release music, however, he's been blackballed by the majority of the music industry and hasn't been able to regain the kinds of success he had early on in his career. But 6ix9ine isn't the only artist to get ran up on his own property. This next artist was the victim of a home invasion, but ended up killing the man who broke in. Let's check it out. Ben J. Earl Benjamin, aka Ben J, is one half of the hip-hop group The New Boys. The New Boys were a group from the Inland Empire who are best known for their hit song, You're a Jerk, which set off the jerking craze across the country. They were active from 2008 to 2014, but eventually parted ways to focus on their solo career. A few years after the group broke up, Ben J was the victim of a home invasion that resulted in him taking the life of the robber. In an interview with DJ Vlad, he describes the incident at length. The robbery took place in April 2017. Ben J claims that he fell on hard times financially after the music slowed down and he took to selling weed to support himself. Although he didn't know much about street life, his friend hooked him up with a gun just in case. He said he was living the high life, but selling weed out of the apartment complex he was living at. He wasn't moving as smart as he should have been, and someone got the drop on him. He claims the dude called him to buy some weed and pretended to be a fan. The dude never showed up, but ended up calling him later that night, promising that they would buy even more weight. He came through around 12 a.m., and Ben claims he was drinking and playing Grand Theft Auto, and he grabbed his gun just in case. As soon as he opened the door, an armed robber pointed a gun in his face and made him back up into the living room. Ben still had a strap in his hand, and the robber didn't notice. Ben let off a shot as soon as they were back in the living room, and the guy dropped to the ground. Ben shot him again to make sure he didn't get up, then ran outside and saw the robber's partner running down the alley. At that moment, Ben says he thought about gunning down the accomplice, but realized it would have been a murder and not self-defense, so he let him get away. He suddenly realized that his 21-year-old sister was still at the house and ran back to make sure everything was okay. Eventually, he called the police, and they were able to determine that the robber did have a gun and the killing was self-defense. Ben J's career fizzled after the New Boys broke up. In the follow-up interview he did with Vlad TV a few years later after the initial interview, he says he got a lot of heat for that interview, but that he doesn't feel like he was in the wrong for protecting himself. He turned to street hustles like selling drugs and pimping to support his lifestyle after the music didn't pan out. Hopefully, Ben J could put this incident behind him and rekindle an entertainment career, or at least get smarter with his street business and avoid another potential robbery.